Hi everyone, Monica Shimonik here with Moms Unshackled. Denise, if you're watching, I'm wearing your shirt. I love it. I wear this all the time. This is my running shirt. So I'm at the park near my house. I'm going to do a really quick message for you all. So last night a parent contacted me. They found me on YouTube of all places, and they said, oh my God, I just watched like a ton of your videos. Wow, thank you so much, blah, blah, blah. But what about retaliation? And so I get this question all the time. I actually had a mom over the summer almost sign up to work with me for 12 weeks. Like, she was this close, and she's like, the only thing that's stopping me is that I'm so afraid that if my judge or my ex finds out that I'm working with you, they're going to take my kids away. They're going to retaliate against me. And so I'm going to go ahead and validate that concern. All right. I mean, everybody's afraid of retaliation, you know? So this is what I'm going to say in response. So the next time the word retaliation comes up, like, what about retaliation? If I use my rights and I put my rights on the record and I actually defend myself to the court, and I defend myself to my ex. So when you work with me, I teach you all that. I teach you how to set boundaries with your ex, which is that's one of the core elements of what I do. But a lot of you are afraid to set boundaries with your ex because you're afraid of the retaliation. Oh no, the judge says I have to use Our Family Wizard. The judge says I have to respond. The judge says I have to have the Our Family Wizard app on my phone, which, by the way, most gigantic pet peeve of my life. I'm going to do a whole live stream on why that is the most toxic thing you could do. But a lot of you, I tell my clients, I'm like, get the Our Family Wizard app off your phone. Take it off. No. But the judge says I'm going to get punished. I'm going to get this. I'm going to get that. Okay. So it's like, what you're doing is you're putting your personal welfare, your child's welfare, and I don't mean this in a harsh way. I was afraid. I get the retaliation fear. I get that. So I'm not saying like you guys are like, out to lunch. You have a very valid and legitimate concern. But this is what I think a lot of you aren't. There's something that I think a lot of you aren't doing. I know I'm talking in circles here. Hang on. Because I think I just started like 20 lines of discussion, but our Family Wizard, that just pisses me off so much. So, all right, let me start over. Let me ask you something. Okay, so you're afraid of retaliation. So here's the thing. Where are you now? Where are you today, right this very minute, November 20th, 9:22 a.m. Eastern Time? You're probably close to or at your rock bottom with your custody case, with your kids, your whole situation. And let's sit there for a second, okay? Let's just sit here. You're at your rock bottom. Things are the way they are now, and they are not going to change, okay? Your child is now predisposed to needing therapy, probably already in therapy. Your child's predisposed to having mental illness, teen suicide, teen pregnancy, teen dropout rate. Your child is predisposed to, I think I said mental illness already. Your child's going to be predisposed to a lot of risk factors. Do you want that for your child at 10 or 11 or 12? Okay. The family court has been destroying and obliterating families for 50 years, and it has cost our economy tons of money. Special education budgets have to expand every year. Mental illness and hospitalizations with youth, youth crisis, youth emergency, blah, 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 youth care. I mean, you probably all know a parent who can't control their 13-year-old child because their child is too big now. Like, their child's 100 pounds. They can't move them into the car. They can't move them out of the car. They can't send them to their room anymore. The child is violent and breaking property and running away and things. So, like, your child is predisposed to entering into that dynamic if they're with you a few hours a week or a couple of days a month or a few days a month. Okay. So that's just to kind of rub your face into the rock bottom. That's where you're at now, most likely. Okay. There's a very good chance if you're watching this, that's where you're at. And that's a potential for your kids to enter into, or you to enter into. And do you really want to be paying all this money in your taxes to fund special education budgets? Because one of the reasons is because there's an epidemic of fatherlessness and motherlessness in our culture. Okay, so look at the rock bottom in your own personal life. Look at the rock bottom with our economy, with with society, and then look at your child's rock bottom. Okay, at 10, 11, 12, 13 years old. So sit in that for a second, okay? And now on the other side of this, say, fear of retaliation if I defend myself and I fight smartly in court. Now, I don't mean fight stupid. Don't be stupid. Don't kick over a garbage can and call the judge by their first name. Okay? Don't curse on the record. Don't curse out your ex on the record. Like, don't do stuff like that. When I say fight back, I don't mean fight stupid. Okay? Fight smart. You can learn, you can educate yourself. Now, the most beautiful thing about family court is that it's illegal. And so any amount of research you do into the laws and into your rights is going to help you. Like, you could spend an hour researching your actual rights and then automatically have a leg up in family law, because family law doesn't operate on laws. It's an illegal court. So you're fighting against something illegal, which is actually pretty easy to do. It's not that hard to do this. Like, the academic work involved isn't that hard. It's the emotional, it's the activation energy that you need to put yourself out there and stick your neck out there to get punished, so to speak. Okay. So I'll just give you an example for me. I started asserting my rights in 2015. Was I retaliated against? Yes. Financially, I was sanctioned. I didn't lose time with my child. It was more just financial sanctions, and then the judge just being an asshole to me in court. I mean, so here's the question. I'm not saying that you're all going to wind up like that. Like, I'm not saying you're all going to be lucky and just get a few $1,000s in sanctions. But the thing is, when you know your rights and you start putting yourself out there, you're going to not stop. You're not going to just be like, oh, I put my rights out there and I got sanctioned, so let me go back into my little hole. You're going to keep going. You're going to be like, psst, screw you, I'm going to appeal those sanctions. And you're going to keep going, and you're going to get this momentum energy to continue forward. And here's the thing. Humanity has never liked injustice. We have never, ever, as a society, as a collective, ever liked injustice, unless you're completely brainwashed. Okay? And most of you aren't brainwashed. We don't really have a brainwashed society in this regard where we're completely submissive to government yet. We're getting there, but we're not there right now. Typically, we all really don't like government telling us what to do. So we're not brainwashed, okay? We're not North Korea. And so as a culture, we don't like injustice. So we're programmed to fight back. We have it in our DNA to have the activation energy needed to fight back. This is high vibrational energy. This is high vibrational rocket fuel. Fighting back, using your rights, being afraid of retaliation, but moving forward anyway, is high vibrational energy. It's nourishing to your soul. My healing, I've been saying this 100 times, like, working with Ron and Sherry Palmer has launched me out of the victim state. Okay, because when you're in a victim energy, that's low vibrational. It makes you sick. It's toxic. It's bad for your heart. It's bad for your mental health. You know, it's bad for your digestion. Okay, I'm a digestive abdominal therapist on the side, so I know about digestive issues. It's bad for your body and your spirit to play the court's rules and continue to be a victim and continue to morph yourself into that perfect human being to make some judge happy so that you can get your kid back. So I know I'm talking in circles, and I hope you follow me, but so let me just sum this up. You have two choices. You could either continue to play the game in family court because you're afraid of retaliation. You can choose to not assert your rights on the record. You can choose to not improve your constitution, no pun intended, so that you can properly fight back smartly. You can choose to not do that and say, like, no, you know what? I think this GAL likes me. I have a good feeling about this GAL. I have a good feeling about this judge. My ex is a total jerk. I think the judge is seeing through my ex. Like, you can get into that and just hope that other people, you know, you could put your happiness and your welfare and your child's welfare and society's welfare into the hands of another person, or you can put on your cape and do it yourself. Okay, you can be your own activist. You can fight for your own children. You could fight for your own rights instead of waiting for a judge to quote unquote do the right thing. So if you're going to choose that and play that game where you're just waiting for the unicorn judge to do the right thing, what you're going to end up doing is you're going to find yourself jumping through hoops. You're going to be like, oh, the last judge didn't like that I lived, 2 towns away, so let me buy a house in the next town over. The judge didn't like that I worked, 10 to 6, so let me quit my job and work 9 to 5 instead. The judge didn't like that I had a boyfriend, so let me dump my boyfriend and then go back to court and tell the judge I'm single. So there's always going to be something the judge uses against you to take your kids away. Like for me, the judge didn't like that I had a strong vocabulary. The judge thought that me using big words was going to make my son feel stupid because he has a limited IQ. And the judge thought that my son would be intimidated being around me. Okay. So I lost fucking custody of my kids for that. Excuse my language. So, that really makes me mad. And it's also a violation of the American with Disabilities Act, but we're not going to go there. So anyway, yes, I do drop F-bombs sometimes when I'm passionate, like right now. So the judge will always use one of your personal attributes against you to take your kids away. And you have 1,000 flaws. I have 1,000 flaws. Everybody has lots and lots of flaws. June Cleaver has flaws. The judge will bastardize your flaws and like magnify them and exploit you as a human with qualities to use as a reason to take your kids away. So you can continue to like work in that system where you're like, let me get rid of this quality of mine. Let me get rid of that. Let me change careers. Let me just buy the better house. Let me just, let me not clear my throat as much because now the judge doesn't think I'm a nervous person. Like one guy I know, a friend of ours, lost his son for being socially awkward. So let me go take some classes to not be socially awkward, I mean, like, you're going to like jump through all these hoops. That's low vibration. You're going to feel like crap about yourself. Okay. You're not going to feel good about yourself. And there's also no guarantees because even if that judge wants that, so supposedly wants that, another judge could rotate into that position and have an entirely different opinion. So I did that for 7 years. I jumped through every hoop in the world. I will not do that again because any judge can just change their mind at the drop of a hat. You're better off using your rights. You're better off using the law to protect you. You have tons of laws on your side. Tons and tons of laws. Ron and Sherry Palmer will go through this with you if you work with them. You have so many laws that protect you in family court instead of going in that direction where you're just jumping through hoops. So there's one more thing I'm going to say before I end. Okay. Self-advocacy, fighting back smartly, putting your rights out there, standing up for yourself, setting boundaries with your ex, setting boundaries with the ex's attorney, setting boundaries with the GAL, like not getting one in the first place. That's setting a boundary. Doing that is high vibrational, okay? That's going to be in alignment with your higher purpose, and that's going to be in alignment with your calling, like your life's calling card. Like, what are you supposed to be contributing to this planet? Standing up for yourself will help you get in alignment with that, okay? Even if like even if your life's purpose is doing something outside of family court, like, I don't know, making it number one in your company, it's hard to activate the energy you need to make your life the way you want it to be when you are being somebody else's slave in family court and like trying to twist your life around. If you want to be successful and be happy, you may as well flex that muscle now and start advocating for yourself, because if it's not now in family court, in 40 years, if you're in a nursing home, you're going to want to have those skills so that you can stand up for yourself to like your team, your healthcare team. Like you don't want to start getting into this victim thing, because then you're going to start applying it in other aspects of your life. Like you might end up not standing up for yourself in your personal relationships because you're not flexing that muscle. So there's a lot of benefits. There's a ton of benefits to actually using your rights, because you're using skills that you need anyway. You're going to need these skills for your kids. Like if you have a disabled child and that child is 25 years old, you're going to want to know how to stand up for your child if they are in some sort of like, residential assistance homes or something like that. And if you're following other people's rules and living by other people's standards, you're not going to have those muscles flexed. So you're not going to have those skills. So like, I'll just throw this out there. Like, being my own advocate in court has helped me be a better business person, because it's like the same skills. It's like putting yourself out there and just not letting the fear get to you, because this is the thing. You're waiting to feel good about standing up for yourself in court. Okay. You're thinking like, oh my God, my heart is freaking pounding out of my chest. If it feels this bad, it's not right. Like, it's because you're paying attention to like your body's feelings about standing up to the judge and setting boundaries. So because you're paying attention to like your fears, like you're paying attention to your sensations in your body, and you're using that as a reason to not defend yourself. Okay. And I get it. Like, it's easier to just sit there and zip your lip and let everybody else run the show. Let the GAL do all the talking. Let the judge do all the making the decisions on the bench, and just sit there and do nothing and just say, okay, bye, Your Honor. And now you're stuck with these horrible court orders. So you're better off really learning how to fight smartly. I teach you how to do that. Ron and Sherry teach you how to do that. You're so much better off because you're going to be in alignment with that, with your higher purpose. And again, I'm going to say this again, we as human beings are not biologically wired to follow other people's rules. Okay, look at ants and bees. You have the queen bee. The queen bee makes some sort of, like, gives off a scent, and like all these bees just do whatever the heck she wants. Like, you're not a bee. You're not an ant. Okay, Ellen DeGeneres gave the funniest stand-up. She said, you never see a trail of ants and then at the end you see that one asshole ant at the end that doesn't want to do anything. You never see that. It's always ants just follow suit. They do what they have to do. That's how they're wired. We're not wired that way. We're not wired to just listen to a government official direct our lives and determine. I mean, I have parents who are not allowed to talk to their child's therapist. Okay. And they don't have a restraining order. Like, there's no protective order. There's no restraining order. The judge just simply said, you're not allowed to talk to your own child's therapist. And these parents aren't doing anything about that. They're not filing motions to vacate that piece of the judge's order to say, you don't have the right to determine who I'm allowed to speak to in my private life. Like, parents aren't doing that, you know? And they're not doing that because they don't know how, but they're also afraid. They're also afraid if they tell the judge, like, yo, you can't do that. Like, they're afraid of the retaliation. So what's more important to you? Just, like, think about it. Like, well, what's more important? The potential fear of being retaliated against, or being in alignment with my higher purpose, okay? Because your higher self wants you to advocate for yourself and for your children. And I know that. You know darn well that you really want to stand up for yourself. Like, there's not a single person out there that's like, oh, no, not me. You all want to do that, but you're scared. So you're letting the fear stop you. So why not just do it anyway? Just do it afraid. I don't remember who said that. I think it was Tony Robbins. He says, do it afraid, do it afraid. But there's a lot of questions I'm sure you have, but go to fixedfamilycourts.com, become a member for $20, and you'll learn a lot of these skills. And it's really not that difficult. You know, I don't even have a high school diploma, and I was able to figure a lot of this out. I went right from middle school to college, you know, but I skipped a lot of essential learning, and I was still able to figure it out. I wrote my own brief. I'm writing my own petitions. You know, I'm doing this. So if I could do it with very little education, then you could certainly do it. But anyway, let me know if you have any questions. If you want to book a personal session with me, I'll put in a link to do that. Whatever you're having issue with, I have a 4-quadrant formula that I teach moms how to step into, like, the most powerful version of themselves so they can get through all this family court chaos. I use a 4-quadrant model: education, boundaries, self-care, and mindset. We work with a lot of mindset stuff. So whatever you're having challenges with, we can drill down on a single issue, or like 1 or 2 issues, and we can work very closely on that specific thing. So I'll put a link in my description momentarily when I get home. But just think about what I'm saying. Retaliation, you know, is it really this big boogeyman, you know, or is it just an excuse to keep you feeling safe, you know, when you're really not really safe? But there's an illusion of safety when you're not when you're not defending yourself. So, okay, great. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know if you have any questions. All right. Bye-bye.